Mileena, Khanum of Outworld. Mileena is one of the most iconic and complex characters of Mortal Kombat series, a character who can be described as both incredibly beautiful and disgusting at the same time. After the success of Scorpion and Sub-Zero with their eternal confrontation, developers decided to bring into the game new characters, but this time they will be introduced as two female ninjas whose endless conflicts would create such fire in plot and make the game more interesting and colorful for players. Mileena's signature weapon in the series is a pair of sai, Japanese daggers, along with fast teleport kick and ground rolling attacks. Mileena made her first appearance in the series in sequel of original Mortal Kombat game in 1993 as a mysterious and deadly warrior, serving under the command of a ruthless emperor of Outworld, Shao Kahn. If we dive into the backstory deeper, it takes us to the days when Shao Kahn has attacked Edenia, an exquisite realm known for its long livers who can dwell for thousands of years. Champions of Edenia were defeated by Outworld champions, which later allowed Shao Kahn to conquer Edenia and establish complete dominance. In process, the King Jared, a ruler of Edenia, was killed. Later it turns out that his wife, Empress Sindel, had betrayed him and aided Shao in his conquest. After the death of Jared and Edenia's total defeat, Shao Kahn returns with Sindel to his palace in Outworld, and keeps Sindel's young daughter, Princess Kitana, alive, eventually raising her as his own daughter, pushing her through brutal trainings and making her a deadly warrior. As time went, Shao began concerning that Kitana one day might find out the truth. He knew too well that his stepdaughter could discover her true past, and then it will be very hard to prevent her from blood revenge. So, thinking everything ahead and making a plan, Khan called his subordinate Shang Tsung, a powerful sorcerer. By the order of Emperor, Shang Tsung attempted to create a clone of Kitana, who will replace her in case if Kitana betrays Shao Kahn in the future. To accomplish the task, Sorcerer took Kitana's Edenian blood, mixing it with Tarkatan DNA to make the final product deadlier and stronger than the original. As we know, Tarkatans are blood-sucking inhabitants of Outworld. Soon Shang Tsung ends his experiment, but it was revealed to be unsuccessful and disastrous. Instead of copying Princess Kitana, Sorcerer created something else, something more than he expected. A clone of Kitana that possessed both her beauty and intelligence, and unsurprisingly, monstrous, razor-sharp teeth and uncontrollable bloodlust of Tarkatans as well. Despite of unsuccessful results, Shao Kahn decided to keep her and gave her a name, Mileena. Mileena joined Kitana and in short time they became close to each other. They trained together and grew up together without knowing their true identity. Shao Kahn raised them not as the princesses who will inherit the throne one day and start ruling the empire, but as extremely dangerous warriors who will do anything for their father. In Mortal Kombat 2, it was shown that Shao Kahn's concerns came true, and Kitana found out the truth. That her real father was King Jared, a fair monarch of Edenia who was murdered by Shao Kahn, a man who fed her with lies through millennia. However, as soon as Kitana discovered the truth, she did not take the immediate action to take revenge. On the contrary, she acted as nothing happened, just not to draw his father's attention, and waited for a perfect moment to strike. On the other side, Shao Kahn was already aware of the current events, and sent Mileena after her sister as a spy to learn her intentions. At that time, the Mortal Kombat tournament was still going on in Outworld. Champions from each realm were fighting tirelessly, but Earthrealm started to overpower the Outworld. Here was the moment when Kitana for the first time decided to help Earthrealm champions. Mileena, who was looking at Kitana all this time, witnessed how her sister was talking to their enemy and seemed to be assisting them. Mileena could not control herself due to treachery of Kitana and attacked her with full strength. Despite Mileena's best efforts, Kitana was stronger, and after a bloody battle, she killed her disgusting clone. News of Mileena's death reached Shao Kahn, and he ordered Jade and Reptile to find Kitana, while the Emperor himself started looking for a chance to resurrect Mileena. To achieve this task, Shao Kahn had to ask for Shinnok's help. Shinnok is the fallen elder god who rules Netherrealm. Despite his hostility to Shao, he agreed to help Emperor and resurrected Mileena, and moreover he gave her ability to read Kitana's mind, so she can now easily defeat her. However, at the end of the Mortal Kombat tournament, Shao Kahn was defeated by Liu Kang and all the plans were ruined. After this event, Shinnok ordered Mileena to return to the Netherrealm, the realm of the dead, until his army for rebellion against elder gods will be ready. Mileena herself did not want to obey Shinnok, and she decided to help Kitana and Earthrealm champions, so they can defeat Shinnok with his army in the near future. As Mileena hoped, Shinnok was soon defeated and she became free. Now traveling to Outworld, Mileena once again attacks her sister Kitana, and once again Kitana becomes a victor in battle. But this time Kitana decides to keep her sister alive and puts her in jail, because she hopes that one day Mileena might change and join her to rule Outworld with justice. Later, Princess Mileena appears in TV series of 1997 called Mortal Kombat Conquest, but with completely different backstory. There she was a creature from unknown race whose mission was to kill Kung Lao. To higher her chances of success, Shao Kahn, by using magic, grants her with Kitana's appearance. But she still fails. Angry Emperor takes back the half of her beauty, leaving her with big jaw full of sharp teeth. This was the last scene where we can see Mileena in this TV series. She won't show up in the next episodes. But this backstory of Mileena is not a canon. We can also see Mileena in a movie of the same year known as Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But she doesn't play a huge role in the plot, and after a quick appearance disappears without any reason. In Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, two sorcerers, Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, collaborates with each other, creating the Deadly Alliance, and they attempted to assassinate the Emperor Shao Kahn in his own hole. But they had no idea that the fake Emperor was sitting on the throne that night, so they killed Shao Kahn's clone, not him. Kitana's soul was enslaved by Onaga and was resurrected as a part of Dragon King's dead army. After joining Dragon King, Mileena's mission was to pretend to be Kitana by wearing a mask and leading Adenia's new army in order to distract Earthrealm warriors for some time, giving Onaga a chance to gather all Kamidogu relics that can make him the most powerful creature in the universe, or shortly, the one being himself. But soon Mileena realizes that now, instead of serving Onaga, she can make herself powerful by leading army and ruling both Outworld and Edenia. After Onaga's defeat, Mileena thought that there is no potential threat to her rule, and under the mask, she can continue to pretend to be her sister, Kitana. However, there was one individual who knew all of her secrets, Baraka. Leader of Tarkatans, was dangerous and at any moment could spoil her secrets to overthrow her. That's why Mileena, through a Tarkatan soldier, sends a Baraka message and asks him to come to meet her without bodyguards. Now the story proceeds with the new game Mortal Kombat Armageddon. During these events, Mileena, still playing the role of Kitana, occupied the castle of Shao Kahn in Outworld and made it her shelter. Because after a while, Emperor Shao Kahn returns, and his first goal was to retake his throne and castle back, so he can give orders from there. Now Shao Kahn attacks his own castle thinking that Kitana is there. Mileena orders two magicians to lock the gates with powerful magic, and she herself with bodyguards stays in the main hall with throne. Infuriated, Shao Kahn was strong enough to easily break the gate despite the sorcerer's best efforts and entered the main hall. Knowing that there is no best way but to surrender, Mileena stabbed her own bodyguards, then took off the mask, showing who she really was. At the end of that day, she gave up the throne to her father, but this time against her will, because now Mileena wanted to rule herself and not to be someone's subordinate. Shao Kahn, without realizing his daughter's true intentions, accepted her, and once taking his throne back, his first order to Mileena was to find Chujinko. However, Mileena did not fulfill Emperor's desire, and she thought that she deserves better. Unfortunately for her, this was the end, because the Armageddon has begun, and she died at the Pyramid of Argus among other Mortal Kombat champions. This was the end of Mileena in original timeline. She was a character full of mysterious and complex aspects. From the very beginning she wanted to prove that she is better than Kitana in every way. Then after resurrection, Mileena succumbs to the pleasure of absolute power and tries to become something more than she was always meant to be. The ruler, the empress, the Khanum. However, these dreams died along with her in Armageddon. In Mortal Kombat of 2011, which is considered to be a reboot, Mileena is given a new backstory with little changes in it. There, it was shown that Mileena was created by Shang Tsung when Kitana was already a full-grown princess to replace her in case of treachery. During the game story, Kitana goes down to Shang Tsung's flesh pits and witnesses horrible experiments of sorcerer. There were dozens of frightening creatures, including Mileena, lying unconscious. Kitana was completely terrorized as soon as she approached Mileena to see her clearly. At that moment, Mileena suddenly wakes up looking at Kitana and calls her a sister. Totally in shock from what is happening, Kitana begins to distance herself from the terrible creature who just called her sister. At that very moment, a fight between two sisters begins, where Kitana wins. Afterwards, Shang Tsung shows up and tries to calm down an angry princess after what she has seen. But regardless of Shang Tsung's efforts, Kitana attacks him and defeats, then takes him directly to Shao Kahn, not knowing that Kahn himself was involved in those dreadful experiments, and it was his order to create Mileena. After listening to Kitana, Shao Kahn stands from his throne and instead of punishing Shang Tsung as Kitana expected, he congratulates Sorcerer on the successful completion of the experiment. Kitana looks at Shao Kahn with confusion. She was aware of Kahn's violent nature, but she has never thought that the Emperor could do such things. Shao Kahn there explains Kitana everything that has happened. He reveals the truth that he killed her real father, King Jared, while attempting to merge Edenia with Outworld, and took Sindel as his wife. Kitana's mother, Empress Sindel, could convince Shao to keep her alive. So Shao Kahn kept Kitana as he says only to please her mother. Then Shao Kahn announces Mileena as his true daughter and his heir. Then Mileena plays a large role in Shao Kahn's protection and spreading his dominance across the realms. In prequel comics to Mortal Kombat X, we can learn what happened to Mileena after Shao Kahn's ultimate defeat and death by the hands of Raiden and Elder Gods. It was told that Mileena inherited the throne of her late father and became the Empress. Mileena, now as the head of the Empire, felt the responsibility and tried to suit his father and be like him, strong and fearsome. But not everyone accepted her as the true ruler of Outworld and heir of previous Khan, questioning her legitimacy due to Tarkatan heritage. They noticed that Mileena is much weaker Khanum compared to Shao Kahn. Shinnok, the fallen god, comes back, regains his power, and with his subordinate Quan Chi threatens the realms. Earthrealm warriors ask for help from Outworld. They suggest to forget their hatred towards one another and join forces to defeat cursed god Shinnok and his army full of demons from hell. Empress Mileena, manipulated by many other subordinates in court, especially by General Reiko, who promised her a lot of bright glories, rejected Earthrealm's offer and focused only on her empire. As a result, her decisions based on lies of servants and overestimation of her own strength only worsened the situation. General Coatl, who is known to us as Kotal, sees Mileena as unsuitable sovereign for the throne and rule. He believed that his realm needs and deserves new, better leadership, so with all of his forces he organizes a big rebellion in Outworld. In process, many of Mileena's servants such as Ermac Reptile, Devora and General Reiko betrayed her, weakening her position and defenses against Kotal and his rebelled army. Only Baraka and Rain, the prince from Edenia, remained loyal to Mileena and they could escape unharmed. After the checkmate, Mileena refused to give up and searched for new ways to reclaim her throne from Kotal Khan. For that, she allies with Tanya and other dissidents who oppose new Khan's rule. Moreover, Mileena gets Shinnok's amulet, a powerful artifact capable of unleashing dark magic. Then Mileena recruits Kano for a big prize to help her to overthrow Kotal Khan as soon as possible, before his forces become stronger and bigger than Mileena's. During the midday they attack Kotal Khan, and Mileena uses Shinnok's amulet to overpower him, but she still lacked the knowledge to fully control the amulet's dark power, which put her plan and life under the risk. After failed coup, Rain teleports with weakened Mileena to a safer place. Yet Devora, who was close to Mileena, betrayed her by infiltrating her inner circle. The former empress tries to hide in a camp in the middle of the forest to gather strength. But Kotal Khan's forces, with Earthrealm's assist, soon captured Mileena. After her capture, Kotal Khan knew that it will be too dangerous for his rule to keep her alive. Therefore, he orders her execution. Devora personally kills Mileena by injecting her with a deadly parasitic toxin, which turned her head into a skull. So this was the complete end of Mileena's story, her body dissolving into nothingness at the hands of treachery. Her story ends not as a triumphant ruler as she wanted, but as a tragic figure. One can say that Mileena's life was filled with sorrow and an endless attempt to prove others and herself to be better. Mileena did not appear in Mortal Kombat 11's story, but we can see her ending after defeating the final boss Kronika in Classic Towers. There, she describes us the world where she rules as Khanum of Time. It was the reality where she made her parents, Shao Kahn and Sindel, again monarchs of Outworld. At the end she shows her daughter, whose name is unknown, and tells that she is the only one who sees her mother Mileena as perfection, not as abomination. In Mortal Kombat movie of 2021, Mileena is given little time with little role in the film. She was commanded by Shang Tsung, and her primary task was to eradicate all Earthrealm combatants. But Sonya Blade, using her magic and speed, eradicated her first. As Fire God Liu Kang restarts history, he gives us new chance to look at the new, reimagined worlds with completely changed characters. Mileena was no exception. In Mortal Kombat 1, now Mileena is Kitana's biological elder sister, not a clone. The relationship between sisters is closer than ever, and they both are introduced as beautiful and intelligent daughters of Empress Sindel. Being older than Kitana made Mileena a rightful heir to Outworld's throne. Unlike her previous versions, she is more driven by the noble ambition of creating better life for her servants and people. In MK1's story, we meet Mileena for the first time during Raiden's chapter, where she meets Earthrealm's champions at the gates of Outworld. There she shows her eagerness for glory and her strict behavior, especially it becomes clear when she is displeased with Li Mei's actions. However, there is a tragic side even in this version of Mileena. Not long ago, before the main events of the story, during one night, without her mother's permission, Princess Mileena leaves the palace and suddenly infects with a horrible illness known as Tarkat that disfigures the victim and causes to develop the iconic Tarkatan traits, razor-sharp teeth and uncontrollable aggression. The sickness puts Mileena's future under high risk, because at that period, by the order of Empress, patients of Tarkat were being executed or sent to the forgotten parts of the Empire. So other people will be far from them, because the sickness is simply incurable and extremely dangerous. Mileena tries to hide her condition to maintain her authority and avoid panic among her subjects. When Mortal Kombat tournament starts, Mileena should have joined the Outworld champions and along with them defend her realm. But her illness prevented her from participating, which made Kitana a champion, leaving Mileena behind the stage. Princess was afraid that she might stay in Kitana's shadows. Later, in an attempt to catch Shang Tsung, Johnny Cage, Kenshi and Kung Lao enter Sorcerer's laboratory, where they unexpectedly find unconscious Princess Mileena lying in stretcher. Without knowing her conditions, they thought that Shang Tsung wanted to infect Princess with disease. Earthrealm's champions interrupted the process and did not allow Shang Tsung to inject her, thinking that they have saved. But soon enough they realized their mistake. When Mileena, now transformed into Tarkatan-like creature, gets up, she does not recognize them and immediately attacks everyone around. At the end of the battle for life, Kenshi loses his eyes and becomes blind. But Shang Tsung approaches from Mileena's back and gives her an injection. Mileena turns into her original form and again loses consciousness. Later in story, Mileena regrets that she took Kenshi's side, but he is content with it, saying that his blade restored his sight on its own way. Mileena is not afraid to show her affection with Tanya, though it is forbidden in royal family and might be threatening to her role as the heir to the throne. She still shows romantic interest in her bodyguard in presence of people she trusts. But soon General Shao challenges both Empress Sindel and Princess Mileena, claiming them to be unfit for the throne. Shao was totally convinced that their rule will weaken the empire, making it easy for conquest by the external enemies. Especially Shao thought that Sindel, with her close relationship and trust to Lord Liu Kang, puts their realm under serious danger. As a consequence, Superior Commander gathered his most loyal soldiers under his command and still significantly outnumbered Sindel's forces. The coup is stopped, but by a high price. Thousands of soldiers along with their Empress Sindel were killed. General Shao and others who rebelled with him were imprisoned in Lei Qin. After Sindel's death, Mileena becomes the Empress of Outworld. She made few changes in the system, starting with Tarkatans. As a victim herself, she knew how it was to carry this dreadful illness, and moreover, to be treated unfairly by others. Mileena meets Baraka and visits his colony. New Empress offers better life for them, and within a short period earns their loyalty and admiration. Unlike Shao, Outworlders now see in Mileena a great leader who would bring another golden age to the Empire after her mother. In the DLC story of Mortal Kombat 1, called Chaos Reigns, Mileena appears not for a long time and does not play any important role in the plot. It was only shown that Mileena was surrounded by new dangers, such as the renewed rebellion of General Shao and the chaos caused by Titan Havoc, who intends to plunder her empire. This was the biography of Mileena, one of the first female ninjas and illustrious character of Mortal Kombat. Her life is a tale of endless conflict and challenges, but she strives to overcome them all.